Victoria has recorded a significant spike in confirmed coronavirus cases, taking the state's total to 685. 111 new cases were reported in 24 hours, ahead of strict new measures from midnight. All travellers landing in Victoria will be forced into a 2-week quarantine. Anyone defying isolation orders faces an on-the-spot fine of up to $1,600 for individuals and almost $10,000 for businesses.
I hope we don't have to fine anybody. I'd hope we don't have to be going to these levels of enforcement, but giving police these sorts of powers is very important, and it sends a strong message, I hope. Follow the rules, do the right thing, keep your distance, stay at home. That is the key message, and if you're flouting those rules, you will be punished.
Beaches in Melbourne have been closed after crowds of people were moved on by police for breaking social distancing rules. Joining us now from Port Melbourne is Patrick Murrell. Pat, the Premier has pleaded with people to stay home.
That's right, Gab. It is a warm and sunny day here in Melbourne, the start of what would have been school holidays as well. So ordinarily on a day like this, you'd see families flock to the beach. Now they're empty. This is after the Premier pleaded with people to stay home. When we saw those scenes on Friday, people turning up to the beach en masse despite those bans on mass gatherings. Now, as a result of that, from 6 p.m. yesterday, the city of Port Phillip closed all of its beaches to the public. So that's including beaches here in St Kilda all the way down to Brighton as well. Police have been patrolling this beach since the day began in pairs of two. There's quite a heavy police presence here. Almost nobody on the sands as of yet. There's the occasional stroller. Still plenty of people sunbaking here on the foreshore though. Other beaches across Victoria do remain open at this stage, including those in Gippsland as well as on the Great Ocean Road and the Mornington Peninsula. People are allowed to go out and take a walk on the beach. It's those mass gatherings, the social distancing that they do need to maintain. The Premier says that he hasn't ordered beaches to close down just yet. He wants Victorians to act responsibly, but if they do act irresponsibly, he won't hesitate to shut down all beaches in the state until further notice.
If you need to go for a walk, we know exercise great, but this is not about spending a day at the beach.
And Pat, from midnight tonight, all international arrivals to Australia will be quarantined at hotels. How many people is Victoria expecting?
Well, Victoria is expecting anywhere from 1,000 to about 1,500 people to arrive over the next few days. So those that are arriving today will be among the last that will be allowed to go straight home and quarantine themselves there from midnight. Everybody who does arrive in Australia will be taken directly to a hotel where they'll have to spend 2 weeks there in isolation. In Victoria, about 500 hotels have already put their hands up to take these travellers. There's about 5,000 beds worth of capacity at the moment, with the prospect of ramping that up to 25,000 if that's required. Now, this is all being paid for by the state government. Exactly how big the bill will be is not known yet. The Premier says that any cost is worth it to keep that from spreading. As we know, here in Victoria, still about 90% of new coronavirus cases are either from people who have returned recently from overseas or who have a relative or close friend who's done the same. Now, it'll be a very machined process getting people from the airport to their hotel quarantine. They'll be taken by Sky buses. The Sky bus has seen a massive drop in activity recently, so they've volunteered 85 of their buses to take people from the airport to quarantine. They'll be cleaned after every circuit. People will be taken directly to their rooms where they'll have to remain. There'll be private security guards as well as police and potentially even ADF personnel keeping them in there. The government will be paying for their food as well.
We'll utilise private security. We'll also utilise members of Victoria Police, and I'm very grateful to the Prime Minister for his offer of support from the Australian Defence Force.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, Gab, we have seen the biggest spike of COVID-19 cases here in Victoria, with 111 new cases overnight, this bringing the state closer to those stage 3 shutdowns that Daniel Andrews has been foreshadowing all week.
Patrick Murrell, thank you for the update.